Happy Tuesday, everybody. It's the Our Turf Football Podcast coming to you live from wherever we are. You got Sonia, me, you got Dana to my other side. Lisa and Kate, unfortunately, family emergencies, and that's okay. And Dana's traveling, she's on the road. And so here it is. I love my chat, and chat, you are the best, but sometimes it's kind of hard to talk by yourself, even though I am an only child, but it's okay. So hi everybody. Hi Dana.
Hello. I'm so sorry. It was not the plan for me to be on tonight, but two family emergencies, you got to do what you got to do. So hopefully my service will hold up through eastern Nebraska while I drive home to Kansas City. So sorry, everybody.
Yes, she's in the middle of Nebraska. And anytime I think of Nebraska outside of football, I think of Aunt Becky from Full House. Does anybody else think of Aunt Becky from Full House? And
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. That's hilarious. I forgot that. Oh my gosh.
she was from Nebraska. She's like the first person I knew from Nebraska. So there's that. Well, I hope you guys all had a great Thanksgiving. I hope you guys got to enjoy some family and some food and, of course, some football. Oh, wait, before we get started, couple things, couple housekeeping. See, when I don't host all the time, I got to remember these things. So, a couple housekeeping things. First and foremost, we always like to thank Donkey's Place for sponsoring us for the 5th year. They are the best. Dana, did you have them the night before Thanksgiving?
No, we usually do it before Christmas. So we will
Ah,
be
okay.
ordering that for sure this year. It is so great. Goldbelly.com. They get it right to you.
Yes,
It's amazing.
goldbelly.com. And then if you're in New Jersey, make sure you stop by one of their locations in Camden, Medford, and or Mount Holly. Get in there, enjoy a great cheesesteak on an onion roll, and tell them that the Art Turf ladies sent you. Also, if you guys so happen to be watching over on Twitter, X, over on Facebook, head on over to YouTube so that you can join our chat. We can get you in, answer your questions, and our chat's already pretty active because we love them. We love y'all. Oh my
Yay,
goodness.
chat.
Yay, chat.
I know we love them.
We love them. Let's talk about it, you guys. So this was a very interesting weekend, football wise. Lots
Yes.
of things changed, lots of movement. The playoff picture is not really what we thought it would be at the beginning of the year. Would you agree, Dana?
Well, no, I mean, what has been fascinating about this last weekend is, well, we have said over the last few weeks that really the AFC was kind of a crapshoot. Like anyone could end up at the first seed by the end of the regular season. But we really felt like the NFC was pretty solid. It was just going to be seeding. And then the
Yes.
Rams decided to lose to the Panthers. And now even that's in question. I have to tell you, I love it. I love that there's not an obvious winner right now. I love that there's not an obvious Super Bowl, winner. This could be a lot of fun coming down in December football. I love it.
I think so too. I think it's going to be a lot of fun and Big Red right there. How about my Panthers? Yes, how about
Woohoo!
your Panthers?
We
You know,
love your Panthers.
we look the Seahawks fans especially love your Panthers. I
Amen.
love your Panthers because that was a great win. I think that pleased for Bryce Young, and I think that this is kind of like one of those statement kind of wins, and so I was very like happy for him to say the least. Just because it's almost like he kind of got a monkey off his back,
Right.
and how he's like starting to develop and be the player that we all thought he could be or hoped that
Mhm.
he would be. So shout out to Bryce Young leading the Panthers to a very big win, right?
I think you make a really good point because they were winning this. Okay, I want to admit, when Big Red said earlier in the season, look out, my Panthers are going to the playoffs, none of us bought it. Like, we just didn't, right?
We did.
But I will say, I mean, God love those fans for sticking with them. But I think what you said is really important. The fact that they got this monkey off their back, you can't say they didn't beat anyone of importance. that they didn't
Right.
beat a big team. That's done. They've shown that they can do it. And to rattle Matt Stafford, we're going to talk about end of season awards here later, but to rattle Matt Stafford the way they did, so impressive.
Exactly. Exactly. And Stafford was an MVP candidate and theoretically could still be if he finishes up the year strong, which I think he should be able to.
Right.
However, that's a big statement win. So very good for him
Hmm.
and the Panthers. And so yeah, so there's that. And then we see what else. Hang on, I'm pulling up our
Yeah.
standings here.
So
And then oh, go ahead.
we have the Patriots still sitting in the first seed, and their complete dismantling of the Giants was just really proved that they have a very strong grip on the AFC right now, which is not something we thought we would say at the beginning of the year either.
Again, we didn't. We thought that they would be decent, but I don't
Hmm.
think we thought 11-2
Oh
decent,
my God, right?
right? I was not thinking one seed when you thought the Patriots this year, did we? No.
Right.
And then we also didn't think that Denver would be the number two.
Well, I want to
So,
talk about Denver for just a minute, if you're okay with that.
yeah, totally
I
fine.
saw today a stat in their last four games. They have not beaten an opponent by more than 3 points, and a couple of them by 1 point. And so they are having to claw and, fight to the last second to just squeak out a win. I feel like they might be a little bit of a paper tiger. I don't know how much I buy into the Broncos right now.
I hear you on that because if they were good, they would like completely destroy their teams.
Hmm.
But I also think that I mean, yeah, they had to come back to beat the Giants. The only
Hmm.
one that they really kind of handled were the Cowboys and in
Yes.
their past few games. But yeah, I mean, they eked out a win, and I mean eked out a win against the Raiders and then again against the Commanders. So
Right.
they
And those,
they might be a paper tiger. They're winning,
yeah.
and that's in the end what matters.
Hmm.
But are they going to be ready come playoffs?
Yeah, that's really the question. These are the Raiders, and to a little bit lesser extent, the Commanders are teams that if you are a number two seed and are going to dominate in the playoffs, you should crush those teams. And they
Yeah,
just aren't. And so that's really interesting to me. And we'll see what happens at that point.
exactly. Exactly. Now, let's move on over to the NFC. And
Hmm.
I sigh because there's a team that's in first place in the NFC that irritates me to my soul.
I bet it does, because the team that was in that spot last week irritated me to my soul. So I understand completely.
So as long
Yes.
as you get that.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
the Chicago Bears are in the first seed, are the number one seed in the NFC right now as we speak. And they've been playing pretty good ball. But again, could they be another one of those paper tigers as well?
Hmm.
But they did beat the Eagles. And while the Eagles didn't look their best, they still beat them.
Yeah.
And they beat them honestly pretty handily. And
And I
then
think,
did it
go ahead.
in Philadelphia.
I think that's the difference between the Bears and the Broncos for me right now, is the fact that they beat them handedly. Like, there was no question about it. They weren't
Right.
squeaking out these wins. Now, we've seen the Eagles in past seasons fall apart, not completely, but kind of lose their steam toward the end of the season, right? And
Mhm.
so I wonder if that's what's happening now. But if you look at Chicago's schedule, you have to take that into account to a certain extent. But you know what? They're still winning, like you said about the Broncos. And so until they prove us wrong, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, their next few games coming up, they have the Packers twice. They have the Browns, they have the Niners, and then they finish up with the Lions, which will be an interesting game too.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have some decent competition um, coming through, and the Browns could be kind of dangerous. I think potentially, and
Spoilers.
kind of play.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could play spoilers. So there's there's that.
I,
Big Red asks a very
mhm.
good question. I'll go back and go through and answer some questions. But hang on, sorry, Coach. But Big Red said, "Did the Bears sneak into the top spot, or was that inevitable?" Very good question, and I'm gonna say they snuck into that top spot because I think after the first few games, how they started this season, they looked abysmal.
Mm-hmm.
And, again, I've always preached that you have to give patience to new teams and things like that and just new quarterbacks. But I mean, I think we had them doing better, but I don't think anybody had them doing this well. What do you think, Dana?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they snuck into this spot because I don't remember anyone putting in them at the top of their division, let alone the conference. Like we thought they should be better. We didn't know what to expect from Ben Johnson, but you could kind of assume to a certain extent that they would be better.
Right.
But I think that what he's done, and like I said, we're going to talk about end of season awards later about people who are in the running, and Ben Johnson's definitely in there because he has managed to turn this team around
I
in the
agree.
off season and in the regular season. So yeah, it's very impressive. If there's anyone more shocked about this though than the Bears fan base because they seemed absolutely baffled that this has happened.
Agree. I mean, they are. I think the only thing that I really kind of like about this little bit is on TikTok and watching Simone Biles get ready for game day, and she has so much fun. So I think that's like the only positive thing about it, but that's okay. Let's see. Going back through, Big Red asks again. I got to ask another or answer another question. Who's
Mhm.
eliminated from playoff contention at this point in the season? I think the only ones that are truly eliminated are the Giants.
No, I think the Raiders are too. I thought there
The
were
Raiders
three
are too.
teams.
Yep.
I could be wrong.
Giants, Raiders, Saints, and Cardinals. They are
Oh,
all
okay.
eliminated right
Yeah. Yeah.
now. Yep.
I hadn't looked after this last weekend, but yeah, I thought it was a couple. Yeah, which is pretty early. But at the same time, you talk about any of those teams, you're not surprised.
Exactly. They have some work to do, but I don't know. We'll see. CP asks a very good question. Who are the scariest spoiler teams in each conference? And
Mm.
that's a very good question, I think. And hang on, let me take a peek at the standings again. I have them
Yeah,
pulled
me
up,
too.
y'all. Can you really call Jacksonville spoilers now? I mean, they're
No,
the
because
third and they're
yeah, they're in the third seed. I think that you have to be a little bit careful of in the AFC. You're going to have to be careful of the Chiefs for sure coming up. And I don't know that I'd call them a spoiler other than the fact that it just seems like they could come in and knock someone out at the last minute in play.
agreed.
Um, the Dolphins are on the rise. We actually had that as one of our topics tonight, but I really wanted to save it for when Lisa's here because the Dolphins have really turned some things around. And so that could be really interesting to watch. But let's be honest, if the Browns really want to make some noise, they could really shake up their conference a little bit. I mean, their division a little bit. So that could be really interesting. In the
They
NFC,
could.
let me see in the NFC.
NFC, you know what? I'm gonna give it to
Yeah.
Carolina. They're 7-6 right now. And watch out for them.
Yeah.
I mean, they just beat the Rams. They have the Panther or
Hmm.
the Saints coming up. They have the Buccaneers. They have the Seahawks, and then they have the Buccaneers again. They
Hmm.
potentially could. I think they could split with the Buccaneers and beat the Saints.
Hmm.
Watch out.
Oh, for sure. You never know. The Vikings looked disastrous this last weekend.
They
Um,
did.
the Cowboys could come in and shake some stuff up, but really, you really want to look at these eliminated teams, and there's already three in the NFC. Those Cardinals could come in. Kyler Murray could come back at the end of the season and really make a stink for a couple of different teams. I am not so worried about the Saints and the Giants, but yeah, it's really interesting. I think that we already, it's the 2nd of December and are talking about spoilers because
Mm,
the cream has really risen to the crop in the two conferences.
exactly, exactly. Their next game with the I mean, the Rams, hopefully they will be able to, get themselves together and, you know, and beat the Cardinals, but they're playing
Eh,
in Arizona. So we'll see.
that won't break my heart.
I know that won't break you.
I know. Sorry. Sorry, a
I
little
hear
bias.
you though.
Um,
I hear you. I know that feeling. All righty. So let's see. Are there other playoffs scenarios that we are overlooking? Let me see. Hang on. One
I was
second.
curious for you, Sonia. How are you feeling about Indianapolis? They seem to be showing some cracks. Um, we're going to talk about Jonathan Taylor later in the show, but I'm not nearly I haven't been as impressed with them as of late. Are you feeling that maybe they've run out of steam, or do you think they just had a bad couple of games?
They could be starting to run out of steam, and Daniel Jones might not be the Daniel Jones of, the beginning of the season. But I think the fact that they took the Chiefs to overtime, I think that was a positive for them. And honestly, had they made a couple more plays and not given Patrick Mahomes the
Hmm.
ball in overtime, I
Right.
think that that would have ended differently. So I think they're coming back to earth a little bit. Definitely the game against the Seahawks is going to be a big one, even the
Hmm.
Jags. So these next few games are going to be pretty big for them. If they're able to pull them out, then I think they have done more than what I thought that they would do this year.
Hmm.
But maybe not as highly thought of at the beginning of the season now than I did back then.
Yeah. Yeah, it would still be. I saw someone post this earlier. It would be hilarious if the Colts and the Seahawks went to the Super Bowl and the Vikings ended up in the top of the draft because they got rid of both Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones. So that would be kind of funny. That would not be good for Vikings fans, I don't think. But,
Yeah, lots of people are asking, let's see, Um, hang on real quick. Since we're talking playoffs and the Lions are on the outside looking in, Kristen asks, how do I feel about the Lions? Um, I'll answer that real quick. And I think that, they've had an embarrassing couple of days. I'm just going to say
aw.
that. They lost on Thanksgiving, which, they need to kind of Dan Campbell, God bless him. And I know he's made his living on going on fourth downs and stuff like that. But I think it's time to start mixing up things a little bit more and not be as predictable. And then the whole Frank Ragnow fiasco, oh, he's
Yeah.
back. Oh, wait, never mind. He's not. It that was there, and then they kind of artificially killed off Len Barney real quick, and he's still alive. Old number 20 before Barry Sanders. So it's kind of an embarrassing few days for them, and I am not as hopeful and as optimistic. And some things need to be looked at very closely, I think, in the off season, especially their O line. Um, and almost kind of wondering what about Jared Goff? And he has been great, but is he going to be that one that gets us over the hump? So
Hmm.
there's that.
Hmm.
What are you seeing from the Lions, Dana, as an
So
outsider?
I'm with you where I find myself screaming at the television, just take the points, just take the damn
Right?
points, right? At some point, you do have to switch things up and you have to play differently. And you, yes, you want to stick with your tried and true that gets you to where you want to be. But if it's not working, you have to try something else. And I think that your head coach is a little stubborn.
Yeah,
So,
I think
so I
so.
think that he, maybe needs a little talking there. But at some point, you have to realize that if it's going to be a close game, you have to take those points. I feel like I feel bad for the Lions because I think that they have hit injury bug after injury bug so many of their last couple seasons. And then they lost
Mhm.
Ben Johnson. And so that always takes some adjustment when you lose a coordinator. I don't think fans always give that quite enough credit that losing a coordinator can be that hard on a team, but it really can. And so I think that there was a little period of adjustment, and I'm not sure that Dan is the adjustment kind of a guy. You know what I mean?
Doesn't seem like that right
No.
now,
Yeah,
but
it's very interesting.
you never know. You never know.
Yeah.
But I'm just a little frustrated, and that's about it. I think
Yeah.
they mean well, and I think everybody is kind of feeling that way.
Right.
So there's
I
that.
I do know that we have Kristen mentioned the NFC West. I do think that it is worth mentioning that the
Mhm.
NFC West is like the first division in I don't know how long. Brian Nemhauser put it out there that they all have 9 wins. The Rams, the Seahawks, and the Niners have 9 wins. The 49ers have their bye this week. And so they're at 9-4, but the Rams and the Seahawks are at 9-3. And it is really going to come down to literally the last week to figure out how this division is going to run. And it's going to be fabulous. But I was looking at if the playoffs started today,
There we
that
go.
that the Rams and the Niners would play each other. And that makes me real happy because I don't want to have to fight both of them throughout the playoffs. And so if one of them could be taken out, that would be great. But I do think it's very
That'd be great.
impressive and I know that I'm a little bit of a homer being a Seahawks fan, but I do just find it very impressive what that entire division has done and put together this year. It's been really good.
I mean, hat tip to San Francisco because honestly,
Heck
with
yeah.
the mess, right? The mess of the off season that they had and the injuries and everything, for them to still have 9 wins, and I think it's a kind of quiet 9 wins, if you ask
Definitely.
me. I don't know about the rest of the NFC West types of people, but it's a very quiet 9 wins. And when you just said that, I was like, shut up, for real? And it's for real.
Yeah, it is interesting, especially with the injuries that they've had. I mean, they don't have Nick Bosa. They
Yeah,
didn't have Kittle for a while. They lost Fred Warner, who was like the is the pin of that entire defense, and they still are winning. Now, I will caveat that, and this is not to be disrespectful. You play the schedule you're given, but they had the easiest schedule and still have the easiest schedule in the NFL. But that's not their fault. We shouldn't take the credit of them. They are beating those teams they're supposed to, which is what we were just saying about the Broncos not doing. They are
right.
beating those teams they're supposed to, even with all of those injuries. So yeah, it is pretty impressive. Does it hurt me a little to say it? Yes, but it really is. That's why I think I'm just so impressed with the entire division this year.
Agree. Agree. It's been a very good division and all yeah, I think McCaffrey was out for a little bit this year, I think. I know Kittle
No,
was. Oh
no,
no,
I
he
don't. I
was
know.
not.
I don't think he was. I think he's played all, maybe one game, but I don't. I'm not even sure about that. So
Oh, okay. Well, look at
yeah,
that. CMC has
yeah,
made it almost the game. So that's
I know.
good, if not all.
But
And
Purdy was gone, and then yeah,
he hasn't done that in a minute.
no,
So there's that.
very true, very true. All right.
Cool. Moving right along. So, yeah, we were going to talk, we kind of touched on it, but we talked about how the Broncos and the Bears, if they
Hmm.
could be paper tigers, I think they could be, but I also think that they're both not quite quote unquote young, but they haven't really gotten their feet underneath them, so to speak, and haven't really been tested playoff wise yet for both
Agreed.
teams.
Agreed.
So go ahead.
No, I would say I totally agree. And I have a little more confidence in the Bears than I do in the Broncos right now. But I mean, like you said, this is what year two quarterbacks for both teams. So that's fantastic for all this experience. It's going to be, it's the fan bases must be thrilled.
They have to be thrilled. I think if I were a Denver fan, a Broncos fan, and I guess if I were a Bears fan, I'd be happy. It's kind of funny. I saw this somewhere in social media the other day, and they were like, the Browns right now are what the Lions were a couple years ago. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. And,
Mm-hmm.
they are legit right now. And you can't, and they are
Yeah,
very much so legit. They look good. Caleb is playing well. He finally has a person that, he can listen to and can work with him in Ben Johnson and really tailor the offense to what he does well. So I think that's very good for him. And I'm glad that he got that. See, look, guys, I can be nice and pro bear, even though it irritates the crap out of me saying it.
it's hard. It's hard to say nice
It's
things.
hard. They can do hard things.
You can.
So there's that. And then the Broncos, though, I think I agree with you, Dane. I don't think they're as tight as the Bears are because the Bears are doing what they're doing and they're doing it well.
Hmm.
And the Broncos are just kind of squeaking by out these wins. And, they had to put in a Herculean effort in some cases to beat the Commanders, which are they playing down to their competition or are they just not as good? Hang on, let me look at Bo Nix's stats real quick.
I think they're probably just a little inconsistent. And they have had some injuries too. And, we always say everything's shiny on paper, but injuries really do make a difference. But I just don't feel dominance out of that team yet. And I don't get a
Agreed.
ton of dominance out of the Bears either, but there's moments where I'm like, oh, there you go. Okay, I get this. But I just don't out of the Broncos yet. I think one more season though, they could be real nasty.
Yeah, yeah, they could be watch out there now territory. And
Hmm.
then and I'm looking at everybody's stats here. Caleb Williams. Okay, I mean, honestly, Bo Nix and Caleb Williams are really about the same.
Yep.
Caleb's QBR is like 54.8 and Bo Nix's is 54. Bo Nix has thrown more interceptions. He's thrown 9 and Caleb's only thrown 5. So, and they've both thrown for about 2,700 yards. So they are kind of the same player, and honestly, but I think Chicago, I think just has the better talent around him. What do you
Hmm.
think?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. They just have a few more pieces. And not that Denver doesn't have some good talent. They really do. And we talked about it at the beginning of the season, Sonia. We talked about how Denver could easily have the best defense in football. And
Yeah,
that
for
hasn't
sure.
that hasn't come out this year because of some injuries. But so, they both have that. I just it'll be interesting what happens to them when they get into the playoffs. And I will say this, I will totally be the first one to say I am completely wrong. If they get into the playoffs and manage to, beat some of these harder teams, I will be like, nope, my bad, because I just don't feel it right now, but it doesn't mean it can't happen.
Agree.
Yeah.
Agree. Sue brings up a good point. Who thought Denver would be as good this year, though? True. Or the Pats. Exactly. Nobody had. I mean, Denver. I think we definitely had higher than the Pats.
Hmm.
I know we didn't call the Pats being the number one seed, and that KC and the Bills would not be not so good. I definitely did not because I definitely thought that KC. I thought honestly, I thought this was the Bills' year to beat Kansas City,
Yep.
but it's not their year to beat anybody, it looks like. Um,
Right.
so there's that, but I definitely didn't have the Patriots being the number one seed in the AFC East. So
So that's actually a
do you
really good
think,
segue. We were going to
yeah,
talk about these the end of season player awards because everyone keeps talking about MVP, MVP, MVP. And right now the conversation is Drake May and Matt Stafford, which irritates the piss out of me because I get tired of quarterbacks always winning MVP when I think sometimes there's other players that deserve it. But what I find really interesting is Drake May right now seems to kind of be running away with it. I never saw that
agree.
coming.
I did not. I did not. He is first in the NFL in yards. He has 3,400 yards. He's thrown 23 touchdowns, 6 INTs, and his QBR is 72.8. But he's led that team to victories and
Hmm.
led them well. And this is what year 2 of Mike Vrabel and him. And so, yeah, that's commendable.
Is
And
this
they are.
Vrabel's second year? I thought this was Vrabel's first year. Am I
Oh, wait, no,
behind?
this
I'm
is
so
first
sorry.
year. You're
Yeah,
right. This is his first year. My bad,
crazy.
y'all. Wow,
It's
exactly.
crazy.
10 in a row. And let's see. And they've beaten some pretty good team. I mean, yeah, they beat the Dolphins. They beat the Panthers. They beat the Bills. I think that was probably the biggest thing is that they beat the Bills.
Hmm.
And that was a closer game. They beat the Bills there. So, I mean, they still have the Bills coming up actually this week, or they have a bye, and then they have the Bills next weekend. Um, Ravens, Jets, and then the Dolphins. So they could still be up there. I don't see them coming down. I
Mm-mm.
think the Bills and the Patriots game will be the biggest.
Yeah,
The
we'll
biggest.
have to see. And I think it'll be almost more important for the Bills at that point. They have to figure this out a little bit. So that'll be good.
Agree.
But when you
Agree.
look at some of the other important, I will be the first to pound the table for Miles Garrett for Defensive Player of the Year. He has been
Agree.
overlooked so many times and he deserves it and he's sacking everybody and he's the only reason anyone watches Browns games right now. And I love every inch of him and wish he were blue and green, but he doesn't. So I really hope. I honestly, there's a couple of other defensive players we could talk about, but really, it's his award this year.
It's his, yes, I'll agree because he has been the bright spot on that Browns defense. And like you said, he is the reason why people are watching the games for the most
Mhm.
part.
Yeah,
Shador, I
well,
think, has a little bit to do with it too. But
meh.
still, but Miles Garrett has been playing his butt off and he has been so good. And Niles agrees with us on that one. So
Thank you,
there's that.
Niles, puppy. The other one that is going to have to have a big conversation, and these last few games are going to matter is offensive player week of the year. Excuse me. Right now, I think it's Jackson Smith, Njigba, and Jonathan Taylor. That
I will agree. I'll
yeah,
agree. I think JSN is having a phenomenal year out there, setting records in Philadelphia. Or I'm so, God, I'm
Seattle.
so sorry,
It's okay.
Seattle.
You work
My
today. You're
God,
tired. It's fine.
yes. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry about that. But yeah, setting records in Seattle, and it's got to be his, right? And then
Well,
Jonathan Taylor. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I was going to say, but Jonathan Taylor, I mean, he's already got 1,200 yards, almost 1,300 yards. He has 15 touchdowns because
Wow.
he's really the only player that scores touchdowns for the Colts. Let's be honest. But
Agree.
yeah, but I think that he has truly, I don't want to say carried his team because that's not fair to the rest of the Colts. I've been impressed with some of the stuff they're doing, but I think that he's such a standout that I don't know. It's going to come down to these last few weeks with the two of them.
Oh, for sure. I think he's become just like their Mr. Reliable. If you got to have the game, you got to give the ball to Jonathan, right? You
Yeah,
have to.
absolutely.
And without him, this team is nothing, really. I think that he's the one that's made it happen, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And let me tell you, he is the reason I'm in first place in all three of my fantasy football leagues. Just saying. Just saying.
Just
But
saying. Just
now
saying.
here's the one that I find really interesting too, and I'm dying to know your thoughts on this. So, coach of the year. So
Okay.
Vegas odds right now are the top three are Vrabel in New England,
Okay.
Ben Johnson in Chicago, Mike
Fair.
McDonald in Seattle. But I want to
Fair.
throw one more name in there. Can we
Hit me.
talk about Dave Canales in Carolina? Because what he has done with that team that was bottom of the barrel last year is nothing short of miraculous.
I think we can. I think we can add him to the list for sure because people were ready to write off the Panthers, you know?
Hmm.
And even at the beginning of the season, it was like, the Panthers, nah, think not. But they have done remarkably well, I think, for the Panthers and not anybody having a surprise or not anybody thinking that they would be there. So I like that pick. That's a very good
Hmm.
pick. I don't
I
think
don't
he'll win, but I love it.
I don't think he'll win either, but I think he should at least be part of the conversation with the top three because I think that when you look at coach of the year, it's the people who turn around a team. And it doesn't have to go from, worst to first. It's just
Right.
starts to get what they need out of their players. And I think he deserves credit for that. We know what Vrabel is doing in New England. We can see what Ben Johnson is doing in Chicago. Mike McDonald has completely changed the Seahawks team. But I think Dave Canales is right there in that mix. So I'm going to start a little campaign. Nothing against my head coach in Seattle, but Dave Canales deserves something.
Right, because nobody saw the Panthers coming, and I mean, not that they're truly coming, but I think that this, yeah,
Mhm.
this body of work right now from the Panthers has shown that Dave Canales deserves to be in that conversation. And they've played pretty well these past few games. And shout out
Mhm.
to him and Bryce Young. Proud of him.
Heck yeah.
Knew he had it in him. Oh goodness.
Oh
All
man.
righty. What?
I was gonna
Yes,
say, oh man,
turning a
my internet
pretender.
almost just lied.
I
So
was about to say, I think her internet might have started to
yeah, it's
slow
okay.
out.
No,
It's
I'm
okay.
so sorry.
It's okay. Turning a pretender to a contender is a big variable in Coach of the Year, says Big Red. And I will agree. I will agree. Let me look
Agreed.
through. I'm trying to look back through y'all, see if there's any comments that I missed. Um, I think overall, we mentioned a lot of things. And yeah, so I think we're good there. Let me see what else. Any other MVP? Who's our MVP?
Well, we talked about it's either going to be Stafford or May. I
Oh, that's
really
right.
think. Yeah, I don't
Devitt
know
or
that I
May.
agree with that. I would, if it were me, I'd give it to Miles Garrett, but that's not going to happen. So
I think it should one year. I
me
think
too.
LT was the last person to win, a defensive player to win MVP. I think.
Yeah. Well, I think wasn't like
Back-
the last, and offensively, I think Sean Alexander was the last non-offensive player. He or non-quarterback, an offensive player. So it's been a minute. It's time.
It's been a long minute. It is very much so time. So Jonathan Taylor campaign starts now.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Jonathan Taylor and JSN, because when was the last time a wide receiver has won MVP
Right.
or anything?
That would be great. I would be
That
so
would be-
happy. And Lisa would be so sad.
She would be,
Yeah.
but it's okay. We still love her.
Awesome. Awesome.
Speaking of Lisa and kickers,
Oh my God.
that poor Giants kicker.
I have not laughed that hard. I was like doubled over. I was laughing so hard. It was like that poor kid. It was such a Charlie Brown moment. It was so sad, but it was so
I mean,
Giants.
yes, it was so Giants, so Charlie Brown.
Oh my
Oh, poor
goodness.
kid. He meant it. Oh, see, thank you, Darcy. Shout out, Darcy. Last non-quarterback to win MVP was LaDainian Tomlinson in
Mm,
2006, and it was back-to-back running backs because Sean Alexander won it the year before.
yep.
Very
Yep.
good. Very good. See, shout out, Darcy. Y'all are the best. Chat is the best. Oh my
Absolutely.
goodness. They really are. Put Bryce Young in for player of the year. Yes, Bryce Young, player of the year. Shout out.
We
Shout
got you,
out him.
Big Red. We got you, Big Red.
Exactly. Oh my goodness.
Oh, funny.
Well,
Awesome. Look at us. We pulled it off.
we did. We did it. The dynamic duo did it. Oh my gosh. Well, we will be back next week. Same bat time, same bat place, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific or Central. My God, y'all. I don't know what's wrong with me right now.
You're
I'm tired.
tired.
I'm tired. No, not Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler is not going to be anybody's MVP. Maybe he'll be comeback player of the year next year. Who knows?
Maybe.
Oh my gosh. But anyways, well, thank you all for watching and listening. It's been another great night and can't wait to talk to you guys next weekend or next week. And can't wait to watch the games this weekend. So y'all be
Me
safe
too.
out there. Dana, get home safe. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week.